HBCU Football Matters spotlights former Florida A&M Rattler, Olympic gold medalist, Dallas Cowboy, and NFL Hall of Famer Bullet Bob Hayes, in which during his time, he was considered the fastest man on the face of the earth. Bob Hayes was born Robert Lee Hayes in Jacksonville, Florida on December 20th, 1942. Hayes would go on to attend Matthew Gilbert High School in Jacksonville, where he played backup halfback. In 1958, Gilbert High School went on to win the FHSAA Black School State Championship, going an amazing 12-0, including defeating Dillard High School of Fort Lauderdale 14-7 in the championship game. That game was attended by over 11,000 people. Unfortunately, it was 1958. Unfortunately, segregation had its grip in the South, where Jim Crow laws ruled the lives of the black population. It was the place where there was official rhetoric such as, "There shall be separate buildings not nearer than 1/4 mile to each other. One for white boys, one for Negro boys. White boys and Negro boys shall not, in any manner, be associated together or work together." Because of laws like that, even something as innocuous as high school football didn't receive the official standing for records made or records broken when it came to black players. In fact, that outstanding 12-0 Gilbert team would not get its just due until 50 years later, when the FHSAA officially included them among the best teams to ever grace a football field on the high school level in the state of Florida. Even with those obstacles, the athletic Hayes became one of the better two-sporter athletes around. He used his blazing speed in football during the fall while burning up the track during the spring. His athletic prowess was so apparent, he was offered an athletic scholarship to Florida A&M University to play football. Of course, track was his first love. The gifted athlete would go on to win every single race in the 100 yards and 100-meter competitions. But once again, the signs of the times prevented him from getting the attention and respect he deserved as a national star. He was not invited by the mainstream schools to participate in any of their meets until finally, in 1962, the University of Miami invited him to one of their meets on their campus. That's where he tied the world record in the 100-yard dash with a sizzling time of 9.2 seconds. He also was the first to break 6 seconds in the 60-yard dash as well. After setting records virtually everywhere he went and getting the reputation as the best and fastest, Hayes was selected to go to the 1964 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. Those were the same Olympics in which a young Joe Frazier, who would later on become heavyweight champion of the world, got his gold medal. His coach, Jake Gaither, was not too enthused about the Olympic Games and his star track athlete and football player. However, with a great opportunity of bringing home gold and making the country look good, President Lyndon Johnson himself called up Gaither and encouraged him to give Hayes the time needed to prepare for the Olympics. As expected, Bob went to the Olympics, and Bob brought home 2 gold medals, one in the 100 meters and one in the 4x100 meter relay. He ultimately ended his amazing track career, which included a display of dominance of winning 49 consecutive races of 100 yards or meters and more from 1962 to 1964. He was rightfully known as the fastest man on the planet, hence Bullet Bob. The Cowboys of the NFL drafted Hayes in the 7th round of the 1964 draft with the 88th overall pick. To the Cowboys, he was an intriguing project pick. His blazing speed and very raw football skills, they felt that was worth the risk. As a receiver, they figured he would be an obvious deep threat for Cowboys coach Tom Landry to keep defenses honest. Interestingly enough, he was also drafted by the Denver Broncos of the AFL in their 1964 draft. When Hayes had the opportunity to play, his otherworldly speed made it a virtual impossibility for even the fastest cornerbacks to keep up. Defenses had to come up with more creative ways to contain him. In came the bump and run, and then the zone defense. Defenses which are still used to this day for the same purpose, keeping speed demons in check, at least attempting to. The ridiculous speed of Hayes allowed him to lead the NFL in touchdown receptions for his first 2 seasons, with 12 and 13 touchdowns respectively. In 1966, Hayes set a record with 246 yards while catching 9 passes against the Washington Redskins. Hayes was also effective as a punt returner. In 1968, he led the NFL with a 20.8 yards per punt return average with 2 touchdowns. Hayes was only the second player in Dallas Cowboy history to have over 1,000 yards on the ground or in the air in one season. As with many great players who may have been on the decline, Hayes was traded to the San Francisco 49ers, where he concluded his career. He ended his glorious career with 7,414 yards receiving on 371 receptions. That's a whopping 20 yards per reception for his entire career. That's 1/5 of a football field every time he caught the ball on average. Let's not forget his 26.1 yards per reception, which led the league in 1970. So what did he do for an encore? He led the league in 1971 with 24 yards per reception. Oh yeah, on top of that, he caught 71 touchdowns for his entire career. Absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, as bright as his light burned in glory, the illumination revealed a darker side of his private life. He turned to drugs and alcohol. In April 1979, Hayes served 10 months in prison after a guilty plea to delivering narcotics to an undercover police officer. That very incident was felt to be the reason he was not honored during his lifetime in his rightful place among immortals in the NFL Football Hall of Fame. Yes, the place where nearly 10% of its inductees have played for historically black colleges and universities. Most because of the realities of segregation and Jim Crow limited the options they had as black athletes in their time. Bob would go on to be forgotten on a national scale for the most part, but certainly respected locally by many. However, he would not live to see his name emblazoned in the Hall of Fame lore, nor did he ever get to don the coveted yellow jacket as he passed away on September 18, 2002. He came close, but missed out on an entry to the Hall. In fact, after Hayes failed to receive the needed amount of votes during the selection in 2004, longtime Sports Illustrated writer Paul Zimmerman resigned from the selection committee. However, there was one man, more than anyone else, who became Hayes' proxy from the grave. Local sports anchor Sam Kavaris. Sam picked up the mantle and continued the fight, the good fight, the right fight, all the way up until the NFL finally acquiesced and allowed posthumously the Bob Hayes into the annals of immortality in 2009. On the day of his induction, former teammate, now Hall of Famer and the legendary Dallas Cowboys quarterback Roger Staubach, along with Hayes' son Bob Jr., unveiled the bust of Hayes, nice and ready for the Hall of Fame. Now officially among the football gods in attendance. Many who loved and helped Bob along the way of his rocky road and the glory included his 6 teammates from Gilbert High School. And guess what? Yes, Sam Kavaris made the trip as well. Let's hear it for Bob Hayes, Florida A&M University, and our HBCU Spotlight for this week. Thanks for joining us.